And it's taking a minute to load today. All right, you're live.
Good afternoon, everybody. I am Senator Shelley Heddleman, and I am co-chair along with Delegate Kathy Forbes of the Joint Committee on Pensions. I want to welcome you here. If you are not speaking, if you could put your audio on mute, that would be wonderful. And before we jump in, I would like to turn the mic over to co-chair Delegate Kathy Forbes. Thank you.
Thank you, Co-Chair Heddleman. Thank you all for the work that you put into this afternoon's meeting. We look forward to the presentations.
With that, I guess we would like to welcome and to ask our treasurer, Treasurer Davis, to please present. And Ann Gothrop, Director of Legislative Affairs for the State Retirement and Pension System, to present. Thank you.
Thank you. And good afternoon, everyone. Thank you, Chair Heddleman and Chair Forbes. Here with me today is John Martin, the system's acting executive director when he is not the chief deputy treasurer for the state of Maryland, and Ann Gothrop, its director of legislative affairs. I am happy to be here and able to share a few highlights for the year. As you may know, the system returns for fiscal year 2025 were 9.83%, well above the system's 6.8% assumed rate of return. Additionally, the system's funded status also increased slightly this year from 73.5% in fiscal year 24 to 73.9%. As you know, our CIO, Andy Palmer, retired on July 1st. We began the search for Andy's replacement in the spring. The board met yesterday to interview the finalists, and I'm hopeful we'll be able to introduce the system's next CIO to you in the coming months. As we have the CIO position filled, we will turn our attention to filling other leadership positions in the agency as well. Aside from funding and staff updates, I also wanted to share a few positive updates regarding SRA's Member Services Division. As you all know, providing the best customer service possible for the agency's members and retirees is one of our primary goals. Over the last several years, the Member Services Division has struggled to meet its goal of limiting call wait times to less than 3 minutes. In fact, in fiscal year 2024, wait times averaged over 5 minutes per call. However, in fiscal year 26, I am happy to report that our team of member services counselors has turned the corner. This couldn't have happened without the support of the legislature and the governor in securing additional positions for this division in last year's budget, filling existing vacancies and the guidance of a new member services director, Gary Burgess. At our October administrative committee meeting, Gary reported that the average wait time for the first quarter of fiscal 2026 was only 36 seconds. We have all been on the other end of those calls, and I'm not sure I can ask for better than 36 seconds, though in September, the division hit a low of 25 seconds. Now that I've gotten to share all the good news, I think I'll turn it over to Ann to walk you through our board requested legislation for the upcoming year. Ann?
Thank you, Mr. Treasurer, and thank you, Chairs Heddleman and Chairs Forbes, and members of the committee. It is good to be back here in the fall and starting off the interim joint committee session. I am happy to report this year we have one bill, just one. I don't know that in the history I've had with this committee, we've ever come in with one bill. Now, this bill has 3 parts, but they're very small and they're clarifying in nature. So I'll go through them quickly for you. So the first piece has to do, of course, the correctional officer system. It wouldn't be a session without one of these bills. In 2024 and 2025, as a reminder, you all passed legislation to bring security attendants at the state forensic facilities into the correctional officer system from the employee system. This past spring, we were made aware of a job classification that was missed in these past bills. Because of that, we're recommending clarifying that the positions of child and adolescent mental health, or what they call the CAMH, specialists 1 and 2, be moved into the correctional officer system. At this time, we're aware of 14 individuals who would be impacted by this proposal. And we have confirmed with our tax counsel that these positions would qualify for membership in courts. Also, because I know I'm probably going to get this question from one or two of you, AFSCME, we have reached out to the employee organization representing this group, and they are aware of this bill and have no issues with it. Are there questions on that proposal? Okay. I will move on to the next one. So the next two mini proposals within our one have to do with our participating governmental units. For those of you who might not be familiar with this, we allow municipalities, towns, cities, counties who would prefer to piggyback onto the pension system that we've already created rather than create their own. It saves them money and resources to have to administer this. So we refer to them as participating governmental units or new entrants into our plan. Over this past interim, we received, so this is the first proposal, we received numerous questions from counties and municipalities who want to join the law enforcement officers pension system. And they've asked if they have to move all of their law enforcement over when they join, or if they can just move certain positions or groups within the police department. So we've explained that the entire group must move, but because we've repeatedly received this question, we think it would be helpful to clarify the provisions of the State Personnel and Pensions article to reflect this. Several years ago, provisions governing the correctional officer system provided that only the first 6 job classifications for correctional officers were eligible for membership in corps. What this meant was that if a correctional officer were promoted beyond the first 6 job classifications, they'd have to move out of the correctional system into the employee system. This ended up acting as a disincentive to accept a promotion. It also created confusion for the members who were moving back and forth between the pension systems. The legislature addressed this issue by clarifying that all correctional officer systems would now be members of the correctional officer system. By providing that municipalities would be permitted to move only certain groups within their local law enforcement into the law enforcement plan, this would create the corps problem all over again. So in addition to clarifying that if an employer wants to join the LEOPS, all of their law enforcement must join, we'd also recommend clarifying legislation for all new entrants joining the employees and correctional officer system to reflect this. And the final proposal, also having to do, like I said, with the participating governmental units, has to do with the forms that need to be submitted when they want to join. So also in this last interim, we had some potential new entrants into the employees correctional officer system and law enforcement systems who were confused by the existing statutory provision regarding the forms that must be completed and submitted by the new entrant before joining. Specifically, questions arose as to whether all employees of new entrants are required to submit election forms stating whether they want to join or opt out of the system. Existing law states for eligible new entrants, if the employer does not submit the necessary documentation on or before July 1st of the fiscal year in which they're seeking to join, the effective date is then moved to the next July 1st. So it's postponed by a year, and during that year, they have to collect the necessary documents to send them in to us. We think it would be helpful to clarify for these employers and their employees who have election rights to join one of the systems that necessary documentation includes a properly completed election form for individuals employed by the new entrant, indicating whether they intend to participate in the system or opt out. Requiring this form to be completed will avoid confusion in the future for members who may change their mind and then claim that they were never told that they had this election to join. We believe it will also help the state retirement system, our board, and the legislature when they have to navigate this issue. So that are our 3 little proposals. I don't know what I would do if I didn't have a bill to bring in and work through with you all.
3 little ones all rolled into one bill, right?
Yes, yes.
Does anyone have any questions? Wow. All right. Thank you, Anne. Thank you very much. Yes, we will move to the Maryland Teachers and State Employees Supplemental Retirement Plans, MSRP Plan Overview. And we would like to welcome Eloise Foster, the board chair, to present. Thank you. Ms. Foster, you are on mute. If you could unmute, thank you.
Thank you. Senator Hedelman, Delegate Forbes, and members of the Joint Committee on Pensions, good afternoon. For the record, I'm Eloise Foster, and I do serve as the chair of the Maryland Supplemental Retirement Plans. And with me on Zoom today are Rhonda Butler-Bell, who is our Executive Director and the Board Secretary of MSRP, and also Nakia Smith, who is the Deputy Executive Director and the Chief Financial Officer. Now, you just heard from the Treasurer, who was reporting on the Maryland retirement systems, but I must say we're very fortunate that Treasurer Davis also serves on the MSRP board. Let me thank the committee basically for just inviting us here today to share information about our supplemental retirement plans, to talk about the plan's overall performance, and to discuss our recent transition to a new third-party administrator. I must begin by saying that Ms. Rhonda Butler-Bell and also Nakia Smith, who is the Deputy Executive Director and our Chief Financial Officer, are truly, I would say, the backbone and the brains of MSRP operations. I rely on these ladies for their professional expertise, and I must say that they never disappoint. For today's meeting, we have prepared a PowerPoint presentation. I don't know, Rhonda, whether you want to make a few remarks, but our plan is for Ms. Smith to kick things off by providing an overview of the various supplemental retirement plans that MSRP offers. She's also going to touch on the plan's performance, the returns through June 30th. And then Ms. Bell is going to focus her remarks on the transition from nationwide retirement systems to Empower, who is now our current third-party administrator. And she'll also comment on the new fee structure. So following their presentations, we will be happy to answer any questions that the members of the committee may have. So I will defer to Rhonda or Nakia.
All right. Well, thank you, Chair Foster, and members of the committee, Chair Hedelman and Chair Forbes. Thank you all so much for having us here to meet with you again today. It is our pleasure to come before the Joint Committee on Pensions and discuss our favorite thing, which is the Maryland Supplemental Retirement Plans. So Nakia is going to kick things off, as Chair Foster said, and then I am going to discuss the transition of the contract that has now been awarded to Empower Retirement.
Good morning, everyone. Can everyone see my screen? There should be a PowerPoint presentation.
Yes.
Okay, great.
Nikki, I've got the screen share up if that's easier for you.
Oh, sure. Thank you so much.
Hello.
Oh, I'm having some technical difficulties. But
I think
nonetheless,
Philip is sharing his screen, so you probably can't share yours. That's what's happening.
I'll start with the overview on page 2. The Maryland State Employees Supplemental Retirement Plans oversee and administer 4 plans. That is the Deferred Compensation 457 plan, the Maryland Savings and Investment 401k plan, the Maryland Tax Sheltered Annuity 403b plan, and the State Match 401a plan. The 457 plan is one of the plans with the largest number of participants of our 4 plans. The total of 36,648 accounts with a balance, and we have a little over 20,000 actively deferring. The total assets held in trust for the 457 deferred compensation plan is $2.66 billion.
Excuse me one moment. Philip, can we go to the next slide? So if he's sharing, Nikki, you're going to have to let him know when to switch. Thank
Okay.
you.
If you could go to next page. Yeah, the 401k plan is the second largest number of participants of our 4 plans with a total of 33,754 accounts with the balance. We have 17,487 participants actively deferring, and the total assets held in trust is a little over $3 billion. Next slide, please. The 403B tax sheltered annuity plan is open to individuals in higher education institutions. This is the smallest of our 4 plans with a total of 971 accounts with a balance and 419 participants actively deferring. The total assets held in trust is $131.7 million. The next. The 401A match plan was reactivated in July of 2023 after being suspended since July 1st, 2009. I'm sorry. The plan provides a dollar-for-dollar match up to $600 per fiscal year. And below are some results as a comparison from fiscal year 2024 to the close of fiscal year 2025. As of June 30th, the total assets held in trust is $290 million. As of June 30th, there were 1.5 million contributions into the plan. And the number of participants have grown to 40,761. Next page, please. Here's a slide that shows the market review of investments as of June 30th, 2025. In the interest of time, I'm not going to read the market review. If you can go to the next slide, please. Here shows our aggregated annual returns for the 1, 3, 5, and 10-year period. If you can go to the next slide. I really want to highlight the investment performance of all of the plans. For the 1, 3, 5, and 10-year timeframes, MSRP's active investments are in the top 50% or better 66% of all time periods. The passive investments are in the top 75% or better 100% of all time periods. The T. Rowe Price target date funds have performed in the top quartile of peers 100% of the time in the 10-year and 75% of the time in the 5-year periods. The U.S. equity funds have been relatively strong versus the benchmark and peers. Over the last 5 years, the majority of the funds have top decile performance relative to peers and are in the top 50%. Next page, please. The plan's sole actively managed international equity fund underperformed its index over the 1, 3, and 5 years, but still outperformed over the 10-year period. The portfolio remains tilted towards companies that have the potential to capitalize on a long-term secular growth opportunities, with the greatest emphasis on companies in the next-gen technology ecosystem, and those that can benefit from the growth of the middle class and emerging markets. The fund frequently holds more companies domiciled in emerging markets than peers, which can influence the peer group. The strategy currently has a 20.5% allocation to emerging markets. As growth rebound in 2023, the strategy outplaced the growth index and tied the broad index, but it landed in the middle of the category. It posted a similar return in 2024 and for the first 5 months of this year. Our fixed income fund occurred and newly added, we added a Fidelity Income Fixed Fund to the portfolio, which has outperformed its benchmark in all of our time periods. Next one, please. This slide shows the top holdings of all of our plans. Can you go to the next slide? The fee structure for the fees that MSRP charges to participants. There's an asset-based fee It's based on the net assets of participant balances at the close of the previous month, and that's capped at $2,000 for the calendar year. There's also a per account fee, which is 50 cents on any accounts that has a balance greater than $500. During occasions, MSRP Board of Trustees will approve a fourth quarter fee holiday. And what that means is we give back to our state employees where we don't charge an asset-based fee at all. The contingencies for doing so is that our reserve balance covers a minimum of 6 months of our operation expenses and that the market conditions permit that we have a fee holiday. Next slide, please. Here's a copy of our organizational chart, and you can go to the next slide. Our member services team, which is the background, the backbone of MSRP, they educate our state employees on the importance of saving for retirements. That team is comprised of 4 certified retirement counselors and 2 administrative professionals. This team received numerous pension and investment awards and also several NAGDA awards. We held 328 events in 2024, and approximately 35,000 employees are in attendance. We do in-person and virtual pre-retirement seminars, benefit fairs. We do lunch and learn workshops, new employee orientations, and then we have a big Maryland State Employees Save Week presentations. One of the catalysts for our virtual savings symposium or our is strategic financial moves today can mean big lifestyle wins tomorrow. The webinars presented over October 1st and October 28th of this year, which is a 10-day format, which is 16 topics with multiple sessions, options for state employees. It includes collaborations from our fund managers, several state and federal agencies, and MSRP's new plan administrator, Empower. Next page, please. Some of the weekly ongoing webinars that our team does is Savings for a Purpose, putting it all together for retirement, success in planning, and countdown to retirement. You know, many of our webinars have over a 50% attendance rate. And again, our pre-retirement webinars are done online and our seminars are done in person. Next page. Okay, and I will transfer it over to Rhonda Bell so she can talk about the transition to Empower.
Okay, thanks, Nakia. So as most of you know, we did undergo a record keeper or plan administrator transition. The transition actually was effective in September, but I want to give you all a little background on how we went about the process of selecting a new plan administrator. First, I want to just let you know about the nationwide contract. And the most recent nationwide contract was from August of 2019 through August of 2024. The Board of Trustees did have a 12-month renewal option, and they did exercise that option in 2023 and extended the nationwide contract to August 14th, 2025. And that was approved by the Board of Public Works on July 3rd, 2024. The way that we went about selecting Empower was through the State of Maryland competitive seal proposal process. So it was a regular RFP, and the RFP was issued in October of 2024 with the proposals being due in November. And on February 18th, 2025, the Board of Trustees voted to award the plan administrator contract to Empower. The Board of Public Works did approve this contract award on April 23rd, 2025. And because we needed a little more time for Nationwide and Empower to collaborate and do administrative work behind the scenes, the Board of Trustees needed to extend Nationwide's contract a little bit more, and they extended it to September 17th, 2025. And the Empower contract was effective on September 18th, 2025. There was a blackout period, and this was disseminated as far as notifications to state employees and MSRP participants And the blackout period did lift on September 25th, and that is when all of our MSRP accounts were live in the Empower system. And can you go to the next slide, please? Okay, so here is just a detailed breakdown of how the decision was finalized and what the contract award was for Empower Retirement. Again, it was a competitive sealed proposal process in accordance with state procurement law. There's a base contract of 5 years, and the base is 18 million, 18.5 million. The 2-year renewal option is a one-time option that the board can exercise if it chooses to do so. It's not required, but it is an option for the board. And that's 9.2 million. The total contract award is a little over $28 million. And this contract does have a requirement of the MBE, which is the Maryland Certified Minority Business Enterprise, of 20% of the contract. The VSBE, or Maryland Certified Veteran Owned Small Business Enterprise, is a 1% requirement. And you can see here the details, and this is published in the other PDF that I sent to Philip for the committee to look at. The details from the Board of Public Works agenda that was published for the meeting they had on April 23rd, 2025. Technical rankings are showed, and then the financial offers are showed here. And you can see Empower was significantly less in their price proposal than the other two offers. And although the technical ranking had a slightly higher weight than the financial, we can see why the Board of Trustees selected Empower to assume the contract for plan administrator. And we can go to the next slide, please. And here is a breakdown of the difference in the fees between Nationwide and Empower. So the MSRP administrative fee has not changed, and that number, that percentage, is actually what funds our agency. So that we are a special fund agency, and that is what funds the operations for MSRP. There is a significant price savings, as you can see here, between Nationwide and Empower, and this is really exciting. I'm glad we're able to report this to the committee. Nationwide's administrative fee was about 7.7 basis points, and now with Empower, we are at 3.35 basis points. You can see the total 12 basis points versus 7.6 basis points under Empower, and that's the aggregate of the MSRP and Empower fee, which gives us 4.4 basis point fee savings, which is significant and will show up in the participant accounts. And we're really excited about that. And next slide, please. And this is just information. Links are in the document you should have received if you would like to look up our annual reports or performance reports, or look at our Board of Trustee profiles. So thank you so much. I'm happy to answer any questions the committee might have.
Thank you very much. I actually do have a question because and I appreciate knowing, and I know our folks who are enrolled in the pension system or the supplemental system appreciate the fee savings. Can you elaborate as to whether there are any other embedded fees and other investment options?
Embedded fees, no. The fees that you see on the worksheet that I showed are it as far as the actual fees. Now, there are fees associated with different investments, and there's also revenue sharing. And this gets me into the weeds where I would need to have our investment advisor come before you and give you the details on that. But I can tell you that what we have shown today are the bulk of all the fees. Some investments are managed accounts, some are not. So the managed account service itself is an add-on, and that is something that is optional. It is not something that our participants are automatically enrolled into.
Okay, that was a question. So somebody had reached out to me. They were in a managed account. They were and a managed account investor in Nationwide and have rolled over now into Empower, and I think want out, and they have not been able to reach anyone. So that is a concern, that people be able to talk with somebody, especially during this transition period when people are trying to figure out what it is they really want to do.
Sure. So I will just let you know, Chair Hedelman, that what should have occurred and what did occur is that emails were sent out to the participants who were in the Pro account, which is the managed account that was under Nationwide. And the notification went out to those participants specifically because they were in the managed account under Nationwide. And the communications indicated that they would automatically be enrolled in the Empower managed account, and they had the ability to opt out of that account. It did include their contact. Sorry about the automated lights in this office. It did include contact information as far as how to get in touch with Empower and how to opt out of the managed account program. Now, I will also say that if any participants have changed home addresses or email addresses before the transition, then what Empower would have received is the contact information that was on file at Nationwide. So we transferred over about 64,000 accounts, and there is a good chance that there might need to be some updating of email addresses. And also another note is for any participants who did not have an email account on file at all, they received hard copy mailing to their home address of record in the system.
So I appreciate that. This is a person who does have an email that is working, did get it, and her broker is trying to get a hold of somebody and is unable to do so. So what would you like what should we tell people who are struggling to communicate?
All of the Empower contact information is on the MSRP website. I know that our team sent out multiple notifications starting back in August to let people know what the new website was going to be, the new 800 number and all of that. I can provide your staff with all of that after this meeting to make sure that you all have it. But this has been widely disseminated amongst all of the benefit coordinators.
I understand that. They are trying to call that number and are not getting somebody. They have all the information, they have the contact, they are just not able to connect with somebody. That is my concern.
Do you know how recently they tried? I know that there was some type of
outage. The last 2 weeks.
I have personally called that number today and within the last couple of weeks, and I have not had any difficulty getting through myself. I would like to verify what number they're calling, because there is a number dedicated to MSRP, and then there's the main Empower number. They are not the same. There is an actual Empower website, mymsrp.com, which is dedicated to MSRP plans. There's also a regular Empower website. I had a retiree call me a few days ago, and she was very frustrated because she had gone to the regular Empower website. It's a different number. It's a different website. We have a dedicated Empower website just for MSRP and a dedicated phone number. So when anyone is calling our dedicated number, that number will say, we're dedicated, we're servicing MSRP. You should get an automated response as soon as it answers, and then it allows you to get to a live person. I checked it out earlier today because I got feedback from someone who had trouble Monday getting through, and it turns out that whole Amazon website thing affected Empower, and their phones were not working the last couple days, but they're back up and running now.
Great.
So.
I will share that information. Very helpful.
Sure.
Thank you. Delegate Forbes, do you want to take it from here? Delegate Forbes, you're on mute.
I got it. Thank you, Senator Hedelman, and thank you, Ms. Bell and Ms. Smith, for your presentations. I'm gonna just follow up on what Senator Hedelman shared, that I've heard from people that the transition has been rocky, and I'm hoping that you're doing it. If you would again send out to all of our legislative offices the correct email and the correct phone number that people should be calling. So when our constituents come to us, we'll ensure that they're calling the right number. I also just, I was happy to see the fees reduced for the plan, because that was a concern I had with Nationwide, the previous plan. So thank you for that. But another concern I've gotten from retirees is that the fee structure of what they're being charged is almost hard, is really difficult to find with the new provider. So if you could take that back to Empower and make it easier for members to find out what fees they are being charged. Because if they are indeed less, if they're going to be making more, they should know that. But the concern is, and it may have been on those pro accounts that were transferred, that the fees were higher than they were before, and that's what they were reacting to. But I've heard those concerns. So thank you.
You're welcome. I absolutely will give that feedback to our team at Empower.
Thank you. I see some senators. Senator Young, would you like to go next?
Thank you. My question also follows up on this customer service issue. In terms of the technical evaluation, all I heard about was fee structure, and I was hoping to hear that customer service capability would have been a component of the decision-making process. I'm very concerned about that. I can tell you from personal experience, the transition has not been smooth. I called as recently as today after several attempts to call, and you get into this recorded routine. And if what you're calling about isn't one of the options, you can't keep moving. So, for example, I was calling about an RMD, and I kept getting this recording. You're not required to take an RMD. That wasn't my question. So my point is, I'm very concerned about customer service because we may save a few points here and there in terms of fees, but if you're not getting good customer service, you're not maximizing your investment potential. So I am hoping, if this has not been a criteria to date, that some customer service goals are established, measured, and communicated back to us so that we have some assurance that our new plan administrator is not just about being the low fee provider, but also meets expectations in terms of customer service issues as well.
Mm-hmm. Well, thank you for raising those issues, Senator Young. I will just let you know, in terms of the technical proposals, part of the technical proposals did include customer service and the actual services that they were going to provide to MSRP. I am a stickler for customer service, and that is one of my main priorities, making sure that all of our participants have the most excellent customer service possible at all times. So I am on this, and I am trying to work behind the scenes to make sure that no one has long wait times when they are calling in, and that they don't have any difficulty getting routed through. Now, I will say my personal experience in calling is that if I call in and I put in my social, which you need to do for security purposes, I was able to route directly to a live person without going through any other hoops. And all I did was basically put in my social, and it said, which account do you want to discuss? And I selected one account, and then it took me right to a live person without asking me any other questions. So it sounds like we need to get some SOPs together so that our participants know step by step the easiest way to go through. And I'm going to reach back out to our state director. His name is Matt Herman. And I will let him know that we got this feedback, and we want to make it as user-friendly as possible. So I appreciate the feedback.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Senator Bailey?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I had just a couple of questions, as having retired from there and gone through quite a bit with Nationwide and been the Sleola rep for that. When it comes to the fee reduction, I worry about the reduction in service, just like the other members have talked about to our to the retirees. And I know when I represented people in the rural areas, Nationwide was always willing to provide 2 meetings a year in person, where they traveled throughout the state and made themselves available to all the state employees. Is that still provided through Empower?
Yes, it is, Senator Bailey. And actually, if you go to mymsrp.com and you click on the box on the homepage that says Meet My Local Reps, it will take you to our local Empower representatives who are licensed retirement advisors. And it has their picture, it has their email address, it has their phone number. It also has a link where you can actually click on their calendar scheduling system to schedule an appointment with them. You can schedule an appointment with them for in-person or virtual or phone appointment. And also they have a office in Hunt Valley, and they also have a location in College Park, Maryland.
As a state employee nears retirement in the Nationwide system, when they got 5 years out, they would go to Baltimore and have an in-person meeting. Then again, starting their last year, they would go up there and have another meeting so that everything was coordinated. They understood exactly what they were doing. Is Empower still doing the same, those 2 same meetings as people near retirement?
Are you saying one-on-one or group meeting?
No, one-on-one.
Yes, one-on-one meetings can be scheduled at any time. So it is really up to our participants and those approaching retirement, and even retirees who are still in MSRP receiving RMDs. You can have as many appointments as you would like to schedule.
So, but I'm not talking about with a local person. I'm talking about when, a lot of people that I knew took full advantage of their local, but then when they got within 5 years, you were allowed 1 meeting where you would go to Baltimore and meet and actually plan everything out. Then 1 year you planned it out again before you signed your papers. Is that still? It wasn't a thing where you were looking at hypotheticals. It was the actual factual data that had been run for your exact situation.
But
Well, yes. I'm sorry.
Interject, is that with the state retirement system and not the supplemental retirement system? Is that what you're referring to?
I'm talking about with the supplemental retirement systems.
I am not clear on when you say that 5 years out. So are you saying that Nationwide would reach out to you and schedule this? Or are you saying that you would just reach out to Nationwide and they would schedule it? Because there's no set structure for how many appointments you can have. And the local reps for Empower, just like the local reps for Nationwide, can get into your account and they can go over everything with you in detail.
Okay.
Is that answering your question? I just want to make sure I answer.
I just want to make sure. I know we did a lot working through MSRP and working with that to make sure that people had a level of confidence in their money investments.
Mm-hmm.
And I just want to make sure that we weren't letting anything slip through the cracks.
No, absolutely. And Senator Bailey, I will also add that the MSRP member services team does provide pre-retirement one-on-ones as well as pre-retirement webinars. So you're covered all the way around.
Yes, ma'am. I'm very familiar with that part of it. But as we all know, in today's day and age, if you haven't been planning for supplemental retirements, you're not quite going to retire on just your fixed retirement.
Right.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Next up, I see Delegate Metzger has a question. Delegate Metzger, you're muted.
There we go. I was unmuted. How's everybody today?
Very well, thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chairs, both Forbes and Hedelman. Thank you for this today. Ms. Bell, I have a question or just an observation. What I've heard was when people call, they get on if they get through the phone does answer, and they're on hold and on hold and on hold. I would say or suggest that you might do a quick survey of the people that call in, and I believe that you would have a wake-up call as to something that need to be changed. When people are on hold forever, people's time today is so valuable. And we, as legislators and just people in leadership, sometimes forget that people have lives. But with that said, I think that if you would take maybe 35 or extra 40 seconds while the people are on hold to just communicate some things that you are sharing, that perhaps maybe that question that they had may have been answered by just what you've said. But at the end of that, if you would say, would you like to take a quick survey, push 1? I would bet you would be able to have a wake-up call and really find out what the problem is, and you could resolve the problem very effectively within your own office.
Well, I can tell you, Delegate Metzger, that the Empower system does have a survey option at the end of those phone calls, and those phone calls are recorded as well. And internally in our agency office, I have asked all of our staff to keep a log of any complaints that we get, and I would like to see that log at the end of each month because we want to be sure to track them. Did we lose Delegate Metzger? Oh, there you are. Sorry. So we want to be able to track those, and we are tracking them. And it'll give us a good indication of people that are reaching out directly to us as far as the complaints. On the Empower side, I'm going to ask them to do the same as far as complaints and call wait times and just the general customer service feedback that they're getting, because we want to gauge how things are going because we're very early on with this contract.
Just out of curiosity, could you share with us what kind of complaints that people are having, and maybe we can give you some suggestions while we're here?
At this point, complaints have been fairly general. A lot of people just don't like change, and they are asking why the change happened, and we're explaining to them what the procurement process is. And then some have to do with the required minimum distributions and when they can expect those. There was a bit of a data transfer issue between Nationwide and Empower, and some of the data fields did not come over to Empower. And specifically, I'm referring to term dates and hire dates for some employees. So in the Empower system, there are people who were listed as active, but they actually had retired. And we have worked this out, and we're still working through that challenge. But those are the main concerns that are coming to our office right now.
Well, I would like to suggest you keep us abreast of what's taking place, that we might be able to assist you and work. We work together, we'll get things accomplished.
Absolutely. Will do.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Senator Bailey, did you have another question, or is your hand up from earlier?
All right.
Thank you. Sorry.
Okay. Does anyone have any other questions?
I want to just.
No? Any discussion? Oh, Mr.
Chair
Foster. Sorry.
So I would just say this has been very helpful for us. We appreciate the feedback. Certainly, we're going to be proactive in following up on all of the information that you've provided. As Rhonda said earlier, customer service is important to us. Nobody wants to be waiting on the line. And when you call in and it concerns your money, you want to get accurate responses, and you want to get them then. So I appreciate the concerns that the members of the committee have shared with us. We will follow up. We will keep you apprised of our findings. And as you requested, we will make sure that we get the information to you regarding the correct numbers that individuals should be calling in to get information on, so that when your constituents reach out, you can also share that material with them. So thank you for your input.
Thank you. We appreciate that. And as the treasurer, and he said in his opening remarks that the average wait time now is 36 seconds. That's a pretty high bar. So we hope to hear that.
We want to beat that.
Yes. Yes. Thank you. Delegate Forbes?
Thank you all. I really appreciate it, and I appreciate you taking the feedback on it. I imagine the data transfer issue that Ms. Bell cited was unnerving to some people to find out that they were still working when they had already retired, and what else is messed up if that's messed up. So transitions are difficult, they can be bumpy, but please keep us apprised and so we can keep our constituents apprised. So thank you.
We certainly will. Thank you for the opportunity, and I will be providing all that feedback to you as soon as possible.
Thank you so much. So if there isn't anything else, I think that is the conclusion of our hearing this afternoon. Anyone else? All right. Thank you.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.